right, so just wait. All right, it's started. So anything you do say can be heard right now. So this is going to go. This will go as long as no one walks in and disturbs it. Basically, what we're looking at is a year of 3 chancellors, and when I say a year, I don't mean a calendar year. I mean within 12 months. All right. So we've got a whole lot of things going on here. Now, Hitler has done very, very, very well with elections. We know this, yeah? Look at the percentage of the vote that he got in November 1932. Right, that's amazing, okay? And also, he's got a lot of right-wing and centrist parties, which will effectively back him if he needs it, all right? So he's become massively influential, and he does this through a mixture of propaganda, the socio-economic conditions of the Great Depression, the threat of the SA that put fear into people, and lastly, his charismatic qualities himself, just him being Hitler and his speaking ability. All right. So really, he thinks that he should be appointed chancellor, and he's got a strong case. I think we'd all agree. All right. I'm not saying you have to like him. I'm not saying, oh, let's back up Hitler, but we have to admit he's the most popular politician in Germany at this point. All right. But obviously, we know, because I've already explained, but old Hindenburg there was not a fan of Hitler for different reasons. One was a social class issue. He was a Junker, okay, which meant that he was a landowning aristocrat. And Hitler was an upstart corporal, okay, on completely different ends of the social scale. Also, there was a huge age gap, a near 40-year age gap between Hitler and Hindenburg. So there are many reasons why they didn't get on. So instead of appointing Hitler, he puts von Papen in instead, all right? Okay, but he thinks that he can control Hitler, and this is a common feature of different politicians, right? Von Kahr thought that he could control him before the Munich Putsch. Von Papen thinks he can control him, and von Schleicher there, also thinks that he can control him. And you might notice that I keep on saying von. If you're German and your name is something, you've got von in your name, it means you come from a more aristocratic or posh family. Okay, so he has a secret meeting with Hitler. Now we saw this in Rise of Evil in the car, okay? But they have a secret meeting, and in that secret meeting, they agree to support each other. Okay, if push comes to shove, that Hitler could be a chancellor and Papen would be his vice chancellor. All right, but Hitler refused to support Papen as the chancellor and be vice chancellor. So you got to get that around your heads. For some reason, Papen would back a Hitler chancellorship, but Hitler would not back von Papen. But he has no support in the Reichstag. So basically, there's another election, and von Papen is sacked. Now, the Nazi vote actually decreases, okay? And it decreases because of SA violence, all right? It actually kind of disgusts people. So their support goes down to 33%. And Goebbels is really panicking, okay? He writes in his diary, and this is a really good source, guys, okay? So one of the best sources we have about the Nazi period, because Goebbels obviously is someone of extreme influence, and he wrote a diary every single day, all right? So we know his private thoughts. It's really useful. And he writes in his diary, the future is dark and gloomy. All right? Now, this guy here, Schleicher, we know that he manipulated von Papen to get into the chancellorship so that he could watch what Hitler would do in order to manipulate Hitler later on. So he basically, his name, Schleicher, means like kind of creeper, okay? All right. So in German, and he is a kind of creep because he does indulge in a lot of scheming. And he actually, someone who schemes too much, in the end, they get found out for who they are. So Hindenburg appoints Schleicher instead. Now, Schleicher has got some plans, and really all of these guys have got plans, and the plan is to stop the Weimar democracy. Right? There's an undercurrent of that because they don't believe in it. They think it's weak. And if you look at the socio-economic conditions, which Germany was in the 1920s and 1930s, that's a truism. We've seen a lot of weakness in Germany. All right. So they're really not really believing in democracy and ruling by Article 48 and so on and so forth. So Hindenburg appoints Schleicher. Right. And his government fails because of a rumor. I'm going to tell you what that rumor is. The rumor was that he was going to do a putsch. He was going to do a power grab. Again, the army would not back him up. Now, what Schleicher did, his big mistake, and I should have already added this to this slide, he insults Hindenburg's son. He makes a joke about him. It really annoys Hindenburg. Hindenburg's not very happy with that. Anyway, because of this secret meeting, von Papen basically approaches Hindenburg and says, look, if you make Hitler leader, I will manipulate him. Okay, so he wants von Papen to be the leader. It doesn't happen. Schleicher is sacked for his scheming and the rumor that he was trying to push through a putsch. So basically, the reason Hindenburg does appoint Hitler, which he was really against, is because he's seriously concerned about a civil war, and he's seriously concerned that maybe he could be replaced himself by a Nazi revolution. All right, it's either going to be a communist revolution or a Nazi one. Now, he doesn't like either of those choices, but he would prefer the lesser of two evils. And really, he saw the Nazis as the lesser of two evils. Okay, that would be less damaging for Germany to have a Nazi government than it would to have a communist one. And those are the two options that he was seeing. So basically, he just appoints him. He appoints him under the premise that he thinks von Papen and himself can keep Hitler reined in. Now, we know that's not true. But don't think that Hitler is a dictator. He's not. He's simply a politician who's been appointed chancellor. He isn't in complete control. He hasn't got every single facet of control at his disposal. He's chained by democracy. So you're going to see what techniques in the following lessons he uses to undermine democracy and become the full dictator. Okay, it's very interesting how he does that. Okay, I'm going to leave that there. Thank you. Lovely jubbly. Stop recording. Stop recording.